Now, joining us in the news to discuss more on the outcome of the Edo State governorship election is the legal practitioner Henry Ekine. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
Great to have you. Now, let's start with your general thoughts on the outcome of the Edo State governorship election, particularly with the APC's victory.
First, I think I will congratulate the residents and citizens and indigenes of communities in Edo State. The elections have come, and then it's an opportunity for citizens to exercise their right. And that's the citizens have been able to do with some shortcomings, no doubt. And then for the political parties, I would say that it's been a contest. And then ultimately, in an election, it's expected that someone will be returned as elected, whether satisfied or dissatisfied by the other parties. That's a process that's come to a close. And then, of course, by our legislations, the legal frameworks with respect to election in this country, if you're dissatisfied with the outcomes of election, there's another process that begins. Then for the political party that has been returned, and then the candidate of that party declared the winner, congratulations to him. So in all, it's a test of our democracy. And then, of course, there are talking points for us to some sort assess the stakeholders in our electoral process. That is the commission itself, the security agencies, and then the political parties, and ultimately the people. So I think my general remarks would be that congratulations to the people of Edo State, and then particularly to the political party that is the All Progressives Congress, and then their candidate that has been declared winner of the election.
Yeah, a lot of people might find issues with the narrative, that it's an electoral process. Anybody who feels aggrieved should go to court, and that's what it is, because Yaga Africa and, of course, other observers pointed out, irregularities with the electoral process that may have stolen the election, somehow, some way from who the rightful winner should have been. And so, when we see things like this, is it simply a situation where we say congrats, and any other person who's aggrieved should go to court? Is that, a comfortable way to just leave it?
No, it's not. It's not. I mentioned that however flawed an electoral process may be perceived, there will be those who will be satisfied with the process. But ultimately, for those of us who would want the law to prevail, and then that we continually uphold the provisions of our laws, that is including the Electoral Act, and then the regulations that are made pursuant to that act by the Commission, then there can't be a better election except that complies with all of those provisions of the Act. So, yes, on the one hand, like I said, for the political party that has been declared and returned the candidate, they feel satisfied. So congratulations to them. And then as I would say, someone objective outside of Edo State, to that extent that the commission has concluded an election and then declared a candidate. But like I said, what is next is to review the process of the conduct of that election. And of course, the reports of the observers is clear that there are some kind of infractions and then some dissatisfaction that even the People's Democratic Party expressed before the final declaration of the winner of that election. So we have our process, the legal process to expressing that dissatisfaction, which is approaching the tribunal and then doing so within the provisions of the law, within the time and providing all of the requirements, including canvassing your case appropriately before the tribunal when it's constituted and it's set up. And then, of course, proving electoral infractions, the decision of the courts have also shown that it's a bit extraneous, but that's what is next. But I dare say that we can't continue to conduct elections and then the observers will come with the kind of report that we've had in Edo State even before the declaration of the results. And then in other parts of the country with apparent disregard and then violation of provisions of the law, because the Electoral Act is clear with respect to electoral offenses, and then those conducts and acts of the stakeholders that are prohibited, that is the political parties, their supporters, citizens themselves, and security agencies. So when we continually hold elections and then we find that those provisions are disregarded, then we hardly would say that our elections have been free, fair, and credible. But to the extent that the Commission has announced the conclusion of that election and declared a winner, I think the next step is when the tribunals are set up.
Well, I mean, you make a good point. I think what I'm just repeatedly pushing back on is the fact that I think Nigerians want to have a process that they can truly trust. We currently have
Excellent.
a huge trust deficit with the electoral body and also with the justice system. And so a lot of people will question these things. And it's not a comfortable place to simply go and manage the electoral process the way it is and go to court right after. But let's talk about the political landscape in Edo State now. The APC, the INEC, of course, declared that the APC won 11 out of 18 local government areas in Edo State. What does this say about the landscape in Edo State as it stands? The political landscape.
So the requirement for declaration of a candidate as a winner in an election is a matter of law, and then the proportion of the votes to be garnered by the candidate to be declared is an issue of law. A satisfaction of a minimum of 2/3 of the local governments in that state, and then not just winning the majority. And to the extent that the Commission has reviewed the outcome of those results and has held in that regard. But the landscape of the political landscape in Edo State is such that, for me, in the South, Edo has clearly demonstrated to be a very active, I wouldn't want to say volatile, but active in the sense that and the device on the following the senatorial districts in Edo State, and then the strength and power of the political leaders in Edo State from the from the founding of the People's Democratic Party, late leader of that party at that time, and then in the person of Adams Oshiomhole, and even Onyegu, and they have a great number of strong political leaders in that state. So each time elections come in Edo State, then the controversies, the agitations, and then of course the assertions that the people have. But for this particular election, we will not forget the contestation that's been between the governor and his deputy. I say deputy here instructively as a lawyer because I do know that there has been a decision of the court that has upheld the subsistence of the deputy governor, Shuaibu of Edo State. Even if you have a matter on appeal, an appeal in law does not upturn a rather valid judgment. So the contestation that has been between Obaseki and Shuaibu has actually also shaped the political landscape in Edo State. And then with the involvement of Adams Oshiomhole and then those other political bigwigs in Edo State. I think right now moving forward is to see how, don't forget that Edo State has actually been an all progressives Congress state, even from the time of the ACN, that's the, ACN then, and then transmuted to the All Progressives Congress when Adams Oshiomhole was the governor. So it was only in the reign of, or rather the second term of Obaseki that the PDP actually held.
It became an ACN state in 2008 after Adams Oshiomhole's after the victory, of course, or the court rather overturned Osumbo's victory and handed it to Adams Oshiomhole. But prior to that, it was always a PDP state, and so and
talk, yes, before Adams Oshiomhole.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, thank you.
Just for clarity. All right, Andrew, yeah, or just quickly wrap up, so we can end the conversation.
Yeah, so I think that's very instructive, and especially now that the return by the Commission has again established the stronghold of the All Progressives Congress. And then what is left is for the PDP to find its footing really in Edo State and in the South, where they probably have their strength. But particularly in Edo State, the PDP, I think, would have a bit of a struggle to find its footing again. Not to forget that Obaseki, that returned the power to PDP, like we said, after Ibenedion and then Professor Osaoni or so, then he was in APC before he got to the PDP. So let us see in the days and months and years to come what the PDP will do in Edo State. I think that would be for me, my comment at the moment.
All right. Andre Kene, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your thoughts with us. We'll speak with you pretty soon.
Thank you for having me. It's always my pleasure.